From Bela-Bela to Las Vegas, a University of Pretoria student has just put South Africa firmly on the map in one of the world's most unexpectedly intense competitive fields. Forget football or rugby, the arena was a spreadsheet and the weapon of choice was a perfectly crafted formula. Joining us via Zoom, the newly crowned Microsoft Excel Collegiate World Champion, Pieter Pienaar. Pieter, a massive congratulations. You've essentially become the Lionel Messi of pivot tables. How does all that feel?
It's insane. I can't believe it. It's the fourth year I've joined the competition, and I know the quality of the competitors there. And to be able to stand there on stage and look actually out over the crowd of people I know are brilliant at Excel. I don't even consider myself part of that team. And to walk away with a trophy, it was absolutely fantastic.
Pieter, let's start about where the journey started. I mean, how did you realize that you were this smart, or you were clever enough to compete or participate in this competition?
So 4 years ago, Renier Wessels, he works for Bidvest Alice. He came back to the University of Pretoria. He was an alumni, and he said, this competition, he wants students to be involved in it. And they sent the link out, and we actually, I signed up for it saying, you know, why not? You can go to the US, you can win some prize money. It sounds absolutely brilliant. And he then sort of coached us a while. And it's not necessarily about knowing Excel at an advanced level. It's a problem-solving competition. So it's simply, you know, there was one girl one year that says, I don't deserve to be at the finals, I only know 4 formulas. And that just shows you the extent. It's not about knowing all these crazy formulas. It's about, under time pressure, looking at a case and going, what's the best way to solve this problem? So it started back then. I joined when I was a second year at university, and every year I really just enjoy the cases. So you do as many cases as you can. You try to do the problem solving. And of course, when you go to the US, you talk to the other competitors and they say, oh no, but I have this different way of approaching this technique. I don't do this, I do something else. And you learn by actually taking tips and techniques from everywhere and sort of building your way of solving a case. And eventually with all that, it builds up and ultimately become a problem-solving machine.
All right, so most of what you're saying is hieroglyphics certainly to me, and I'm sure to many of our listeners. So simplify it for us, right? When you talk about solving a case, what sort of cases are you solving?
So they love games. So it's not a spreadsheet, you need to do cash flow budget. What they actually do is they take a game, they take, for example, Battleship, and they say, you need to play a game of Battleship in Excel. So they give you another sheet, and in that sheet, they give you the map. They say, here's a map. And then in the main case, they say, given that the boats are in this list, or that, for example, this boat starts in this cell and it points downwards or something like that, simulate basically the game. So you can do it manually. You can take the data and then say, okay, so the boat's in A1, B1, D1, and then go over to the board and click those blocks and make them a boat. And then when the players play and the player 1 guesses D2 and then player 2 guesses F2, you physically play the game until someone wins. But against time, the fastest way to do that with all the data they give you is to say, let's write a formula to look at this data and put the boat in the map. So you create a new map that literally looks at the data and puts the boats in. And then you write another formula to then play the game. To say, okay, guess player 1, then player 2, then player 1 again, over and over again, until Excel sort of decides who has won the game. So that's the type of thing they like to do. They like game cases. For example, there was a game where someone had to ice skate over a rink, and you need to essentially say, if they ice skate in this arrow direction and they hit the border, what then happens? You know, they deflect off the border. There's a bunch of crazy things they do, but they like games, and they like these type of abstract things, giving you maps, giving you a World of Warcraft, things where multiple characters have to fight together. So it's more about, you do not know what to expect. It's not, I'm going to sit there, they're going to give me a cash flow budget, I sort of know my cash flow. It is, you open up the case and it's something brand new. It's a brand new problem. It's something really weird. And you have 30 minutes and you're on stage with some of the best Excel talent in the world, and you have 30 minutes to take this problem and just try to solve it the best you can. So the winner is not the guy that knows that one crazy formula that you know is no one knows actually about. It is the person that says, how can I take this problem and break it down and solve the small parts as fast as possible.
Fantastic. We've gone from hieroglyphics to Greek in all of that process. But so are you a mathematician? Because you obviously are this super intelligent individual. I mean, this is obviously not for those of us that are a little bit arty, right? It's for people that, I mean, your STEM sort of individual would excel, mind the pun, at this.
So a lot of the people in the competition are finance majors. So all over the world, most of the competitors are either in finance or engineering. There's a few computer engineers and a few mathematicians. I am in chartered accounting. So I studied accounting at the University of Pretoria. This year that was now passed, I did my first year of articles as an academic trainee at the university. Next year, Jan 5th, I start at PwC in Waterfall, being an academic, being an auditing trainee. So I'm going into auditing. But I do come from a family of engineers. But I sort of don't agree with you on that because it's problem solving. And problem solving is something South Africans are very good at. So even if you are more on the creative side, it is people most likely don't like being challenged and not being able to do something. But if your personality type is someone that says, I want to solve a problem, even though it's frustrating and you have to sit there and you don't know what you're doing, that act of being frustrated and iterating over different types of solutions and finally figuring it out, if you like that, join the competition, because that's all this competition is. It's not, I'm going to, build out a budget or a discounted cash flow model. It's not about Excel. It's about how can you solve a problem. And, I was an academic trainee this year. I deal with a lot of students, and it is a very South African thing. We are very good at problem solving. So no matter if you're in STEM or in creative, I think this competition is almost open to everyone, actually.
Pieter, you said something that I found quite interesting, and that's the frustration around solving problems. But all of that lends itself to not giving up, right? Because you, regardless of how difficult or complex this problem is, you still want to see it through. But I want to talk about your passion, and that's about getting more women into the UP Excel Club, breaking the male-dominated myth. What do you think this stereotype exists in spreadsheets, and what's the most powerful way you've seen a female competitor absolutely dominate a challenge?
So the thing that frustrates me most is students or people that disqualify themselves before they even tried. That really irks at me because, like I said, I want more people to be involved in this. And what I see people do is I show them the spreadsheet, and a lot of people that they look at it and I show them how it happens, and they say, sure, I can't do that. I say, but how do you know? It's about that frustration. This competition is more about perseverance than it is about brute intelligence, if we're being honest. And if I actually, I convinced my supervisors to make it one of our homework questions during the year. So I almost forced all the students to do one of the cases. And I realized all my students are actually brilliant at it. It's the people that said, I don't know what to do, that are actually very creative in how they solve the problems. But especially the female students, they have this, they don't even want to try because it's clearly a male-dominated field. They said, oh, no, I won't be good at that, or I'm not really in a spreadsheet thing. And I think it's about the fact that it's an e-sport. So all the photos you see, you play on computers, and most of the photos you see, it's male competitors, and it's this weird, nerdy almost thing. And if you look at esports, usually it is a bunch of guys playing, Call of Duty or Valorant as an esport. So I don't know exactly where that mental block came in, but I founded an Excel club at the university. It's students from first to fourth year, but it's open to anyone that wants to join and solve these competitions. And the few girls that were there were incredibly creative in how they problem solved. So to give you an idea, I might go and say, I'm going to write this very complex formula to combine or to look up a bunch of things and then to search for that thing in the data. And one of my female students would look at that and go, okay, but if you just take the data and you change it slightly, you can use a normal lookup and it will also work. And I'm standing there in front of, 100 people. And I'm thinking, why didn't I think of that? That's absolutely brilliant. And they bring this unique flair to it. So what I told my supervisor and is I do not want our students to disqualify themselves from this competition before they even tried. And I especially hate it that there's this massive, half of our students, the female group, that is disqualifying self based on their gender or thinking, oh, but it's guys do this competition. I don't want that, because some of the best competitors I saw were female in the US. So this year, 2026 now, the Excel Club's continuing at the university now without me. Some of the new 80s this year is going to manage that. We're going to get some female Excel champions from the South African competition to come speak to them, because I just want them to stop thinking there's a barrier, because there isn't a barrier. If they can mentally understand, but I can do this competition, there isn't a block. I don't need to be genius. I mean, when I was a second year student, I never thought, this is a difficult competition. I said, where's the spreadsheet? I want to try to solve the problem. It's not about the competition. I want to solve that problem. And then when I actually competed, I did rather well. And I said, okay, well, this is brilliant. I want to do more of this. And that's what I want the students to do. I want them to try to solve the problem and to realize they can do it. That's for me, that's the mission.
Pieter, as we end the conversation, let's take you to January 5, right? Now, how do you walk in on your first day at PwC, right? Do you introduce yourself as Pieter, the new trainee, or Pieter, Excel World Champion? I mean, seriously, how will this insane problem-solving skill change how you tackle audit or tax work?
I don't think necessarily I would just go around and go, yeah, no, guys, I know what I'm doing. I'm the best in the world. Because experience is everything. And, that old lady that works with you that still uses VLOOKUPs or just lookups, actually the plain one that has been depreciated ages ago that learned on Lotus 123, she has actually the experience, and I'm the guy that's going to make the mistakes. But obviously an auditing team, you're a team, and there's power in unity. So I bring something to the table that most other people might not have. It's a unique way of looking at data, but I might not be the best technically minded person in tax. And I'm definitely not the guy that knows all the exceptions in the accounting standards. So I think that if the planning department there at PwC is good at what they do, and I'd like to think that they are, they can sort me into a team where I can play to my strengths, and all my weaknesses will be filled in by the rest of my team. So I don't think it's going to take long for them to realize I know what I'm doing in Excel, because I think with most people in their adult world, you use Excel 24/7. So I'm going to open a spreadsheet, I'm going to solve a problem, and they're going to say, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. But hopefully, I'm not going to go in and say, yes, but I am now the best. I'm the guy, right? Because I'm not. I'm someone that knows how to solve a very specific problem. And if I can be sorted into a team where there's a lack of that type of problem-solving skill, I think that as a team, we can accomplish so much.
Okay, you won $5,000, about 85,000 Rand. How did you spend your money, bud?
I just threw it towards my car payment. It's 5,000 before tax. The US government has withheld tax on that, but I have a lot of driving to do next year. I bought a car this year, so it paid off a nice chunk of my car. I'm very happy about that.
Pieter, congratulations once again, and thank you so much for speaking to us. Newly crowned Microsoft Excel Collegiate World Champion, Pieter Pienaar.